Trust Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale for your first alert. You're watching News 12 live at 5. Continues.
Well, happening now, voters are making decisions in a variety of local elections, including who will be Grovetown's next mayor. Incumbent Mayor Gary Jones, Deborah Fisher, and Coretta Smith are all gunning for that position, and polls close at 7 tonight. Our City Hood is live at one of the polling locations at Grovetown's United Methodist. And Sydney, walk us through how voters are feeling today.
Well, people aren't coming in here for church service tonight. Instead, they're going in and saying a different kind of prayer. This is a big one because whoever wins tonight will be the leader for the city for the next 4 years. And all day today, all three candidates running for mayor of Grovetown have held their signs. They've waved at folks in their cars. They've made all their phone calls. They've sent all their text messages trying to get folks out to the voting polls. And judging from the numbers we've seen so far out here today, it all seems to be working. So far, more than 500 people have come out to exercise their right to vote today. And that is almost more than double the number that they saw from early voting. And while we still have a couple more hours until the polls close and they start counting those ballots, the candidates are staying out until the very last second to get people out and vote.
When it's all said and done, there will be no stone that I left unturned. I have peace in knowing that I gave it 150%.
This is the head of it. We're just sort of catching traffic as it comes in, people coming from work. It's going to be great. Just remind people, hey, stop by the poll on the way home, drop your vote.
I feel like the voters are going to make a statement today that they want to continue good government, good honest government. Whether you voted for me or not, at least you exercise your right and your privilege and your duty to vote.
Again, the polls close out here at 7 o'clock. So for all of you just getting off of work, there is still time for you to come out and exercise your right to vote. You can find your precinct online, you can call the Board of Elections office, or you can drive around town and find all of those campaign signs.
All right, thanks, Cindy. Again, anybody who hasn't stopped to take time to vote, polls close at 7 o'clock tonight. And Grovetown is just one of several cities with big races tonight. In Aiken, voters are deciding who will take District 1 City Council seat. It's down to incumbent Gail Diggs, who has served on the council for the last 12 years, and DeMarcus Sullivan. Diggs tells us her time on council is why she thinks she deserves the vote tonight.
Not going to say my record is perfect. We do mess up sometimes. I acknowledge that, but my constituents do know me, and they know that all the decisions that I make come from my heart.
And we're working to get in contact with DeMarcus Sullivan to see how he's been spending the day. We'll let you know when we hear back from him. On his Facebook page, Sullivan says his heart will forever be with this city and to get out and vote. Other big elections tonight include the mayor race for Thompson and Waynesboro. In total,
I believe some rain moving in, that full forecast in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Riley. A planned sewer line project in Harlem is causing major headaches for some neighbors who say they want their voices to be heard. The Uchee Creek Interceptor sewer line project could go right through the property of a disabled veteran who says he's trying to cope with PTSD. And his neighbor worry that a project of this scale could cause major disruptions, and they say their concerns deserve to be heard. All new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, our Taylor Martin digs deeper into how they say their worries are falling on deaf ears. Columbia County parents have another chance tonight to look at some plans to relocate students to different schools. Leaders want to close South Columbia Elementary at the end of this school year and prepare for the opening of Westmont Elementary School. Now, North Columbia Elementary is expected to open for the 25-26 school year on the Ray Owens Road. The meeting will be at Martinez Elementary at 6 o'clock. News 12 will be there, and we'll let you know how that goes. If you missed this one, there will be one on Thursday and again on Tuesday. Well, Georgia small businesses who are struggling to survive say our state is making it harder for them to stay open. Our State House reporter Abby Kasoris explains.
Providing a shield for small businesses. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones announcing today 4 bills that he'd like to see passed this next year. including lowering reporting requirements, scaling back paperwork, and removing rules.
I love connecting with people. I love the instant gratification of a quick little makeover.
Nisa Green is an Emmy Award-winning makeup artist with her own company.
The complaints have always and still are the same. No one wants to hustle through beauty school and then want. It's taken forever to get your license.
The Georgia State Board of Cosmetology and Barbers is one of more than 40 licensing boards in Georgia. Senator Larry Walker says Georgia has some of the strictest licensing laws.
A makeup professional working in a retail environment is not required to have a license. If they're working on a film set, they're not required to have a license. But if they're working if they wanted to open their own business and be a makeup artist for the general public, they are required to get a cosmetology license. So that really doesn't make sense to me.
Walker is sponsoring legislation to get rid of certain boards and commissions for jobs that lawmakers feel couldn't harm anyone. This includes makeup artists. He's recommending moving around funding to support understaffed boards like the nursing board.
And the state is expending a lot of taxpayer dollars, training programs, education programs, and trying to address it from that end, only to when they finish their education, they have to wait sometimes 3 to 6 months before they can go to work.
Green thinks it's a good idea.
Because you don't want bootleggers, but you don't want it to take forever to get a license.
Another bill discussed today would remove barriers for anyone with a criminal record applying for a license. They'll be able to find out upfront if they can apply for the license without having to sit through a long investigation. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasouras.
Thanks, Abby. It's that time again for students to start applying to colleges. Throughout No-Fee November, the University System of Georgia is waiving application fees for colleges and universities during the month of November. Some local schools taking part include Augusta University and Augusta Tech. A wildfire that continues to burn in North Georgia is believed to be arson. That's according to Walker County. The fire started October 21st, but Georgia forestry officials say it escaped original containment lines last Thursday and burned an additional 1,400 acres. The fire threatened 2 homes, but crews managed to save them both. The fire is 50% contained. And fire crews in North Carolina are still working to contain a huge wildfire there. It's burned nearly 3,000 acres so far and is 0% contained. Cherokee County is under a state of emergency as air quality alerts have risen to code red. Fire crews still working to get the flames under control there. Well, a growing push to allow you to bet on horse races in South Carolina. Just ahead, we'll hear more from the growing movement to bring this opportunity to the Palmetto State. Riley?
Well, we are now on a 3-day streak of above average temperatures, and we're likely going to continue it over the next couple of days. That full forecast is next.
Time and temp.
Overall, for the 7-day, we are going to see warm temps the next couple of afternoons. Much cooler this weekend, and we'll hang on to those cool temps early next week.
All right, thanks, Riley. A growing push to bring sports betting to horse racing. With the 30th running of the fall steeplechase just around the corner, there are renewed efforts to get a bill in front of South Carolina lawmakers. Alyssa Lyons has more.
Picture this, it's Saturday, sports are on, maybe even a horse race. You pick up your phone, you place a bet. You can pretty much do that anywhere else but South Carolina. That's why people in Aiken are working to change that. The gates are as open as a stall on Saturday.
This is already going on in the state of South Carolina.
Only somewhat underneath the table.
Just by really intelligent people that know how to make their phone think it's somewhere else.
Soon they'll take their horses somewhere else.
The one woman in town had a horse that won the other day at Aqueduct, and I said, gee, did you make some money? It paid like $102 on a $2 bet. She said, no, get that bill passed. I can't bet here.
But they're working on it.
We all went up to the Virginia Gold Cup, and there were a group of representatives and senators from South Carolina who came up to experience what it was like in a different state, and they did, and I think it went over very well.
To change the course of one steeplechase to the next.
There are limits on how much you can put in. There are limits on how much you can wager.
They're not the ones they need to convince.
I think what's left to do is just keep talking it up. You see a legislator, talk it up. Want to write a letter to the governor? Write a letter to the governor.
But this is already going on. We just don't control it and get any part of it.
In Aiken, Alyssa Lyons on your side.
Well, the state Senate will get a chance to vote on this legislation in January when they return to Columbia. It passed the House last spring.
You do a lot of video conferencing, and do the shots look like this? Pretty bad, right? I'm Jamie Tucker, coming up with a few gadgets that can take your Zoom meetings from this to this.
First Alert Radar. Right. Rely on Ramjack.
Well, lots of people may have returned to the office, but Zoom meetings are apparently here to stay. Zoom says more than 800 million people were still using the platform earlier this year. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker takes a look at a few gadgets to improve video meetings that make great holiday gifts.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
This is what a lot, maybe a majority of video meetings look like. Bad lighting, terrible camera angles. Others look like this. Yeah, a little weird, but also distracting. But thankfully, the last couple of years, new gadgets have come along to make your video conferencing calls look a lot more professional. If you're using a laptop, raise the bar of video by raising the computer. These stands bring the camera to eye level and leave the ceiling out of the shot altogether. There are different styles. These are very portable, while some are a little heavier like this one and made to keep on your desk. Lighting is critical. My favorite desktop light, the Edge light from LumeCube. A diffuser keeps the light from being too harsh on your skin. It has multiple brightness levels and temperatures. Soft amber is much more flattering than bright white. It can not only shine straight down on the desk for work, but it's easily movable to use as a video meeting light. People like to blur the background sometimes because they don't want their coworkers to see the mess behind them. This almost always looks, well, awful unless you have a green screen. The Elgato collapsible green screen hides away until you need it. Just flip the case open and pull it upward. It's broadcast quality. I picked this one up from Amazon for about $160. Yeah, it's a bit pricey, but it does make a difference. Here's the shot without these gadgets and after. A pretty big difference, don't you think? Great if you're always doing video conferencing. If you want to look your best and you don't want your coworkers to see the junk behind you. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
The city of Augusta is honoring one of our smaller local schools for winning a state championship in volleyball. News 12 sports director Dan Booth helped recognize the Alleluia Community Angels on their successful season, and he joins us now to tell us all about it. Dan.
Well, anytime a team wins a state championship, it's a special occasion that should be celebrated, especially when that team has proven they have what it takes to not only fight up in weight class, but beat schools that have thousands of more students than they do. According to head coach Megan Janik, Alleluia Community School has a total of 38 high school students, 11 of whom play on their girls volleyball team. Along the way to winning the state championship, the Angels defeated Grovetown, Evans, Harlem, Midland Valley, Aquinas, and Augusta Prep, while also taking on Lakeside, Greenbrier, and ARC. The players I spoke with say every obstacle along the way to winning state was well worth it.
Honestly, just feels like such an honor. I just feel really special, and I love that our whole team just gets to be recognized like this, and we get acknowledged for the work that we all put in.
Well, I'm definitely going to remember this forever, especially since last year we came in second and we got to play the same team as we did last year. And I think that they're just going to keep getting better because we have some really awesome sophomores and awesome freshmen, and I think they're just going to keep growing, and we're going to have an awesome program for the next couple years.
This is the Angels' second state championship victory since 2017.
Big congratulations to them. Thanks for that, Dan. We are going to see some warm temps in the 80s the next couple of days, but you can see a big drop in those temperatures by this weekend. Have another look at the 7-day just after the break.
It comes out of nowhere. 1 second, everything.
9-9.
Well, take a look at this. Scientists have unveiled the first pictures taken by the European Space Telescope 4 months after the telescope was launched into space from Port Canaveral. In one picture, the telescope captured a group shot of more than 1,000 galaxies 240 million light years away. Can't even imagine how far that is. The telescope will survey billions more galaxies over the next 6 years to create the most comprehensive 3D map of the universe ever made, and I'm sure we'll be living on Mars anytime now. Those are some incredible images there from space, Riley.
That is crazy to think that each one of those little dots could be its own little galaxy.
They could even be gone by the time they're getting to that telescope. That's how far away they are.
By
It's
the time you
crazy to
see
think
it.
about.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy, and then it makes you think, so are we just traveling light?
It could be. This is
are
way
we
too
just like
deep.
light that travels in time?
I didn't think we were going to get into this on a Tuesday afternoon, but here we are.
Deep questions to think about as you head out tonight. Hey, we got clear skies. I wanted to highlight that we are looking at a lot of traffic on Riverwatch Parkway. All those people from downtown trying to make their way to the interstate, definitely congested at the moment. But some beautiful weather on tap the rest of this weekend. We did see a warm afternoon, actually hit 80 degrees for a high temp, but now that we're past sunset, temperatures have already cooled off 17 degrees, so we're already in the mid-60s at the moment. Remember, tomorrow's going to be hot again. We should actually see temperatures hit the low 80s over the next couple of afternoons. Morning temps staying in the 40s for us tomorrow, and then working their way into the 50s as we wake up early Thursday, Friday into the weekend. By the weekend, that's when those high temperatures really drop.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports and election coverage coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock.